Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Every now and then you hear a story about somebody who does something so crazy that you ask yourself, did they really think they'd get away with that? Or what did they think was going to happen? So Richard sent me a story about an attorney out of St. Louis. Robert Patrick wrote the story for the St. Louis Dispatch. St. Louis lawyer faked legal documents and judges' signatures, feds say. And when the feds are saying something, it's because the feds are involved. So the lawyer from St. Louis faked legal documents in court cases, they say, in St. Louis and St. Charles counties for more than a year. And this is all according to a federal indictment and disciplinary documents because the state bars come after the guy, as have the feds. Among the documents they say he falsified were forged signatures of judges, and his law license was suspended in October. He was indicted by a grand jury Wednesday on 5 counts of identity theft for incidents between February 7, 2020 and June 7, 2021. So a little more than a year that they're looking at in this guy's professional career. And the indictment says that he crafted fictitious documents, including court orders, judgments, and emails purportedly authored by the judges. And I've spoken about this before. They often say courts speak through their orders. So if a judge is on the bench and says something, somebody reduces that to a writing, and it's usually an order or a judgment, and then it gets stamped and certified and entered with the court, and copies are given to the parties, and then things happen. So some people will look at that and go, it's just a piece of paper. How hard would it be to make a piece of paper that looks like that? Well, it's real easy to make the piece of paper look like that. But of course, it's also easy to spot that it's wrong because the piece of paper, once the judge signs it, gets entered into the court docketing system to show that it has happened. So someone can pull up the case and say judgment entered, order entered, boom, 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 boom. So if somebody presents you with a court order and says, hey, a judge signed a court order. You can usually go online and look it up and say, was that order real? Was it entered on this day? So he declined to comment when reached by phone Saturday. And he says he's looking for a lawyer. Now, I'm not laughing that a lawyer needs a lawyer. I've hired lawyers before, and there's nothing wrong with that. The question is, will he have any difficulty finding a lawyer when they hear that he's been accused of these kinds of things? He shouldn't have any trouble finding one as long as he can pay them. Court documents filed in October by the Missouri's Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel, which investigates lawyer misconduct, provide additional details about the allegations, and including at least 2 additional cases beyond the ones listed in the indictment. The filing was 98 pages, including exhibits that contain copies of the fake documents. It lays out a series of cases in which the man is accused of faking court orders and emails from judges and providing them to clients. And these are divorce and family court cases. So one faked filing in February 2020 is a final order of divorce in a St. Charles County case in which the husband was ordered to pay $900 in child support, according to a copy in the disciplinary file. So there was no final order, but he just invented one, they say. And in his final order, it ordered the husband to pay $900 in child support. I wonder how close that was to what would have happened in real court. Unbeknownst to the wife, who he was representing, the case continued working its way through the court system. But when neither party showed up in July of 2021, the judge dismissed the case. But that dismissal was set aside after lawyers with the attorney's former law firm intervened. So they figured out what was going on. And they got involved, notified the court, and said, hey, look, this case was dismissed. Our client wasn't there because she'd been told by this attorney that the case was resolved. And it wasn't, and so we need to take care of that. In a case in St. Louis Circuit Court, the man faked an order granting a motion for contempt that said the husband would have to pay $20,000 within 15 days, then half his income plus $2,500 every month, the filing says. He followed that up with 2 faked emails from the judge. And that's a strange one because he found someone in contempt. Now, he's not the judge. He can't do that. And so I'm not laughing at the fact that the guy's doing this crazy stuff. It's just, how crazy is that? The guy just comes up with an order finding the other side in contempt ordering them to pay all this money, and then backed it up with fake emails from the judge. And by the way, if there was a contempt payment to be made of $20,000, and the guy shows up at the court and says, I'm here to pay my $20,000 contempt charge, they go, regarding what? You go, well, this court order. And they look at it and go, okay, let's pull that up on the computer. And they go to the computer and they go, there is no such order in the computer. Where'd you get that? And you go, well, my attorney got it from the opposing counsel, or just the opposing counsel sent it to me if I don't have an attorney. And somebody would call up the judge and go, Judge, your signature's on this document. Do you remember signing this? I have a sneaky feeling the judge is going to go, I don't remember signing that. But please, bring it to my chambers. I'd like to look at it. So the emails from the judge also explained delays in the case. One saying the judge's staff had COVID, and the other saying the judge's father had died. A court spokesperson on Monday said the judge's father did not, in fact, die. So the guy's making up facts, too. It's not clear how he thought he could get away with this, as documents would potentially conflict with other real court orders and would be subject to scrutiny from his clients, their former spouse, and the spouse's lawyer, one would think. The orders, of course, did not appear in the public case file. At the time, he was an associate with the law firm, and he was actually one of the named people in the law firm name, and he is now missing from that name. One of the attorneys at the firm he used to be with called the behavior inexplicable and his motives perplexing in a telephone interview. He said that the attorney primarily faked rulings on motions in the middle of the cases he was handling. There were only 2 final dispositions of cases. It's been an incredible ordeal to try and unravel it, but we have unraveled it, the attorney said. He praised the investigation by the FBI and federal prosecutors and said lawyers and judges have reached out incredibly to my small law firm about this. He said that cases in 4 judicial circuits had been affected, but declined to say how many total cases were involved. So if this man was representing you, you might want to take a look at the filings. His web of deception began to unravel in July when a client in a divorce case approached the other attorney at the firm with concerns about a consent order that had been filed in her case that she never signed. So the client said, I never signed that order, and somehow it got entered. The attorney told the man in question, the attorney at the firm who's still there, said that the guy we're talking about here, he said, we need to talk about the case. And that prompted the attorney to spend 3 hours sending emails and attachments to a secret email address and then deleting them from his office computer. And the fact they know all this is probably more trouble for him, too. At a July 12 meeting, the firm's private investigator found client files on a thumb drive in this guy's possession, including multiple faked documents, the affidavit says. They also found a half pint of vodka in his backpack, along with an unmarked pill bottle containing miscellaneous pills. He agreed to go to a drug and alcohol treatment facility. And I suppose that they're putting that in there to kind of hint what might be the problem. Now, the half pint of vodka in his backpack is probably not so uncommon, but the pill bottle containing miscellaneous pills, you do wonder about that. So the firm and its investigator found additional faked documents, and they reported the attorney to the disciplinary council on July 15th. So the law firm heard that something might be going on. They brought in an investigator, conducted an investigation, and then turned that over to the authorities and said, look, we've discovered this is happening, and here you go. That was the first of 4 reports on the man's conduct, including one sent from the Missouri Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division after one of the man's clients complained to them. And that's often an interesting situation where somebody encounters a bad attorney or a bad accountant or a bad somebody. They go, who do I complain to? Now, with attorneys, many people know you complain to the state bar. But some people aren't sure, so somebody contacted the Attorney General's office and said, well, I'm a consumer of these services. Can you look into this? And the AG apparently poked around and said, well, what can we do with this? And then they did something. So that did help. Meanwhile, the OCDC filed its documents October 13th, 2021, and the man was suspended 14 days later by the Missouri Supreme Court in an order that says he poses a substantial threat of irreparable harm to the public as there's probable cause to believe he has engaged in acts of misconduct. 2 of the judges listed in the indictment responded to emails about the case, declining to comment, and referring a reporter to the court's spokesperson, who then referred specific questions to federal prosecutors. The court spokesperson said in an email on Monday, "We have full confidence in the security measures put in place by the Office of the State Courts Administrator to protect the integrity of documents of the Circuit Court in St. Louis County. The man was licensed to practice law in Missouri in 2013 and was hired by the law firm in question in 2016. His LinkedIn profile says he graduated from St. Louis University in 2010 and law school at Western Michigan University in 2013. He worked in corporate legal affairs department of a healthcare company and a Jefferson City law firm after graduation." And, the weird thing is, there was a time not so long ago, before computers, when court files were literally just files. And I remember seeing court files a long time ago when there'd be an official court file. And so if a case gets called before a judge for some reason, the court file gets sent up to the courtroom. And the judge takes the file out and flips through the papers and then does his business. And if something gets ruled on or something happens, something goes into the court file and the court file goes back downstairs to where they keep all the files. And nowadays it's all electronic. If you go to the clerk counter in some courthouses, you'll see people back there scanning documents because they don't like to work with paper. And they back everything up in the cloud. And so, but if you can imagine this, if you went back to I'm guessing let's pick a year, 1950, okay? There probably was a time when you could fake a document and ask to see the court file. And if you're an attorney who's in there a lot and they recognize you, they might not watch you like a hawk. And when they're not looking, you just slide something in the court file. And then later, it'd be a lot harder to prove it wasn't real because there weren't computerized dockets that were, watching this stuff. But nowadays, there is no way you could get away with this. It is impossible. And the fact that he got away with it for even a few months is mind-boggling to me. But the interesting thing is that somebody files for a divorce and the other side's not opposing it. It's not uncommon that all that happens is the complaint gets filed, no answer gets filed, a time period goes by, and then the parties, that is the party filing the case, and their attorney go to court. The other side gets a notice saying you can show up if you want to, but you don't have to. They don't show up. So the person goes into court, gets a divorce, they put the stuff on the record, and a judgment gets entered. And it would be really easy to fake that process if somebody was unfamiliar with it, meaning that if the party filing the lawsuit has an attorney, and the attorney files the lawsuit and says, "Oh, your other side didn't, your spouse didn't oppose this. We don't have to go to court." Now, any attorney would say that's not true. You got to go to court to put the final judgment on the record. But if someone didn't know that, they'd go, "Oh, okay, sure," and then dummy up some documents that look like a final divorce decree, hand them to your client, and go, "There you go. There you go." But the weird part about that, though, is all it's doing is saving a trip to court, for which you can bill your client. So I'm not sure. Now, the contempt orders and things of that nature are just crazy. They're just crazy because there's no way you're going to get away with that. And he obviously didn't. So what was the guy thinking? I don't know. What was his state of mind? I don't know. Did alcohol and miscellaneous pills play a part? I'm curious. But it sounds to me like there's a good chance this guy will never be practicing law again anywhere, at which point all the time in law school is wasted. And by the way, I went to law school, and on some level it was not fun, okay? So going to law school, it's not like, well, I can no longer practice law, but boy, I had fun at law school. No. You put up with law school so you can practice law. You didn't go to law school for the experience of just being there. So it's a crazy story, but Richard sent it. Thanks a lot. Robert Patrick wrote the story of the St. Louis Dispatch. St. Louis lawyer faked legal documents, judges' signatures, feds say. And he's already in trouble, cannot practice law, but now there are some allegations of crime that he may have to go to court and answer for. So there you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Insect puns really bug me.